It's Tappy Chat. It's Tappy Chat. Tappy Chat.
All right. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Tappy Chat. My name is Alex, and this podcast is all about things to do with parenting and caring for young ones in our lives. And today we are chatting multiples. I think I'm going to call this episode Oops, I Did It Again. And put on a different theme tune for once. We're diving in from that whole transition of deciding you're going to have a baby, or maybe not deciding, maybe it was a complete surprise, to then moving on to maybe 2 or 3 or 4, and what that's like. So if you are thinking about having more children, stop, have a cup of tea with us for a few minutes, and we're either going to encourage you or completely put you off. We're going to give you the highs and the lows. So we've got 2 wonderful guests joining me today, mums both, Anna and Lottie. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves. If you, ladies, you could tell me, who you are, how many kids you've got, and how you came to that number of children. How you settled on that. Anna, give me an intro.
Absolutely. Well, Alex, I kind of feel like you and I are the lightweights in this conversation because I understand it. Charlotte has 4 children. Is that right?
Yeah.
So I'm intrigued to find out how you're doing that and it's so glamorous at the same time. Because Alex, I have 2 sons, similar age as well. So I've got a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old, and it's so they were both planned, and I definitely wanted to have 2, and I think I'd be very tempted to have a third, but my husband is less convinced. I think he may have a point, because it is quite full on with the 2 boys, and because I'm 41 now, so I'm kind of running out of time to have a third anyway. I kind of envy people who had started earlier, because I think maybe the way you do it is you have 2 and then you have a break and wait until they're a little bit older and self-sufficient, and then you have more. And I think maybe that would have been the way to do it, but I don't know. Anyway, so that's my story.
Breed your own babysitters, basically. Just give yourself. Yeah, interesting. But then you're giving yourself a longer period of childcare, which I always think is.
Yeah, can you imagine going back to the nappies and bottles phase? I mean, that's got to be tough when you've been out of that for a while.
For a while, yeah. Yeah, I have 2 boys as well, which is no real surprise. So Anna and I have bonded over the joy of boys. Lottie, tell us all about you and your many, many children.
Oh gosh, it feels, do you know what, Alex? It only feels like very recently that I was turning up to your classes with Harper as a tiny, tiny human,
Yes.
being newly pregnant with twins. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So I've got a boy, Harrison, who's 9. He just turned 9. And then I've got a daughter called Harper, who's 6.5. And then I've got 2 4-year-old twins. So the twins weren't part of the plan. They were supposed to be the final baby number 3 that we went for. And then, at the 12-week scan, we found out we were having twins. So
My goodness.
That is really interesting, because that's also something we talked about, is if you chose to have a third, no guarantee that it would just be the one, and you could be 2, so
or more. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this a lot, actually, because I always thought, yes, the best plan is to just have twins. That's it. And then you're done. You've got 2 kids. You have them at the same time. And then, you can move on with things. But having it the other way around, when you've kind of had experience of having solo children and then having twins, it's like multiples. My goodness me. When going back to, like, I don't know if it was just me, but I certainly think as a teenage girl, I had this firm idea in my head of how many children I was going to, like, you plan your life and you go, yeah, by the time I'm 25, I'm going to have this child, I'm going to have 1 boy and 2 girls, or I'm going to have a massive family. Did you have like a kind of an idea in your mind going pre-motherhood, going into whether you wanted a big family or not?
No, I don't think I did, actually. I think, definitely as a teenager, I was aware that all my friends were doing similar to what you were just describing, but I wasn't really that interested, to be honest. And then kind of in my mid-20s, got the itch, and then I thought maybe 3.
Yeah.
But funnily enough, like Aaron, my husband, and myself were both only children. So I think somewhere along the line, evolution's done something funny, and now I've heard that before. Yeah.
You're balancing the numbers.
Yeah.
It's interesting you should say that though, because I knew I definitely wanted at least 2, but I knew I wanted 2, and that's because I've got a sister who's very close to me in age, so
Yeah.
I kind of grew up as part of a pair and liked that, and so wanted to replicate it. So it's interesting that you've actually gone the other way and done the opposite to what you grew up with. Do you think growing up as an only child made you think, I want to give my children siblings?
I think so. I think definitely after we had Harrison, we were sure that we wanted another one. Yeah. But I did want a sister when I was younger, so maybe internally that's pushed it a bit as well. Maybe after having a boy, I was like, oh, but I'd really like a female. Yeah, I don't know.
The other thing though is presumably you've seen how much your children fight with each other, so
Yes.
you had quite a peaceful childhood because you just were driving you crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But there's a tremendous pressure anyway. I found that after having Eli, almost the first question, and this is a babe in arms, is like, you're going to have another. When are you going to have? Are you going to try for a girl this time? You know, it's almost like there's your hormones that are raging around going, I must give this child a sibling. But then there's also a lot of society going, this is the ideal to have at least 2 children. But, you know, it's almost like a bolder decision to stop. Some people are very clear. They're like, one and done, and that's what I want. But yeah, I really came to that as well. I felt this desperate pressure to have another one straight away.
No, isn't it how people presume I can ask you that? The most random people asking you that. And then the weird thing is, it happened to me recently about, are you going to have a third? And I found myself just saying everything that I just said at the beginning of this podcast and kind of laying it all out. And then afterwards walking away and thinking, I didn't really want to tell you all of that. I thought that all came out. But it kind of feels like public property, doesn't it? Like everyone wants to talk about it and feels you should open up. But I do wonder, once you've got to 4, do people stop asking if you're going to have more?
No, do you know what? Some people still do.
I think.
Yeah, some people still do. I mean, a lot of our close friends are like, don't. They just like, don't do it. No, yeah. But yeah, no, people still do. They talk to me a lot more when I'm out with the twins. I think people feel quite, I don't know. I get approached quite a lot still, even though they're not babies anymore. And people,
Fascinating though, aren't they? People
Yeah.
know how you deal with it. Is that like having a third baby, or is it like having 2 separate individuals? So you know, it's would you count that as a third, or would you count that as 2
No.
very different personalities?
be very different person.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, it's quite tough. I mean, siblings squabbling and fighting is obviously quite challenging, but when it's like two individuals which are kind of the same in a way, like they're just so similar, when they fight, it's just another level of, I don't know, I've never experienced anything like it. My older 2 never fought like the twins fought.
That's interesting. I was wondering about that because I thought, is it ever so slightly easier because at least their needs are the same, the kind of food they're wanting to eat and the activities they're wanting to are similar, so you can just do the same thing. But I guess that's
Yeah.
by the fact that it's just really hard because it's twins.
Yeah, no, I think, yeah. I mean, I think if I was going to give an example of my older 2 fighting, at least there's an older one there who can maybe concede a bit quicker and be like the bigger person, especially when they're having disagreements. But like when it's the twins, they just don't back down. And I don't know if it's because it's 2 girls. They're very, when they fight, they get quite physical as well, which my other 2 didn't do. So I don't know, they're very primal with each other.
Do they have a very different bond with each other than
They
other
do.
siblings?
Yeah, they do. They kind of babble, like even though they're 4 and they talk, they kind of have their own little side language. Like even if one of them just makes a noise, the other one knows kind of what they mean, and like they'll seek each other out all the time. And yeah, despite the horrendous fighting, they're very sweet.
We have a marvelous ability to kind of gloss over the absolute horror. Like we've just recording this, we've just come out of half term, which is like hell on any level. But then you kind of, the moment they're back at school or nursery, you go, oh yeah, they're quite sweet, really. Yeah. When they're not. I had a black eye for the whole of half term because my youngest managed to headbutt me by accident. And you just think, oh yeah, I've forgotten how physical
Gosh.
parenting is. It's not just sort of like nurturing and caring and sort of rocking a baby around. They're physical beings, girls or boys.
Yes.
I definitely found the transition from 1 to 2, because I was always in my head 3, But I think the transition from 1 to 2, once the second one arrived, I was like, okay, that's quite a lot. I don't know about you, Anna, but there's the same sort of age gap between our eldest. So it was about 3 years. So they've got to the point, the 3-year-old's like a little person now. It's not a toddler. They're a little boy. So then you go, I miss a baby. I want a baby, and it's quite a nice sort of age gap. I think everyone falls into the toddler trap and goes, oh, they've grown up. I must have another one. But then the transition from 1 to 2, I found massive, even more so than 0 to 1, which is a huge kind of identity leap into losing your past life of becoming a mother, and then suddenly 1 to 2, I was like, this is next level. This is something else. I wonder if the leap from 2 to 3 then gets easier, or if it's a different kind of leap. I mean, how was your transition?
How was my transition? I think you're exactly right. And I was going to ask the same question actually, because that's what scares me about the idea of having a third is, if it gets even harder again, then I just don't think I could do that.
Yes. Yeah.
It is so full on, and you're right about half term as well. And it's the fighting. I don't know if you find this, Alex, but at the age they're at the moment now, 3 and 6, they're kind of in a similar age bubble, so they just fight, and it's like having a third child to look after, because you're looking after each child individually, and then you're trying to navigate these fights that they're having, and intervene, and who was in the wrong, and were they both in the wrong, and it's just a whole other dimension. So I'm curious as to how was the leap from 2 to 3 for you?
Or 2 to 4.
Exactly.
Do you know what? And it's actually quite a lot of it's a blur because it was just so hardcore. Yeah, I mean, when the twins were actually with us, I think Harrison and Harper were, luckily they were like quite relaxed about the whole thing, which helped massively because for me and my husband, the change was just insane. Like we literally were outnumbered. We didn't even have enough hands to do things. And obviously when you're also recovering from the birth as well. It's just a big blur. It was, it's just crazy. I don't know how, I know people, they do say to me quite often, oh, I don't know how you do it, and what stuff. And I actually don't know how we did it. Like we're just kind of,
You just have to. Yeah.
just went in pure survival mode, and you did it, and it was a hard graft, and kind of, now they're nearly 4. So yeah.
Well done. You've made it to 4. That's impressive. An achievement, because theoretically it should get a little easier now, maybe.
Yeah, in some ways, yeah. But then obviously they're kind of developing into complete individual people who now have their own opinions, and they know that they don't want to do certain things, or like even something that makes my mornings easy, which is kind of trying to dress them the same, they're starting to not want to do that now. So it's like just extra things to add, extra individuals to.
I do feel like too, it's very much we've got one each, in the sort of like worst case, if we have to split them up, my husband will take one, I'll take the other.
Yeah.
I do always find that by default I take the youngest, and I try and mix it up a bit, but it's the natural way of things that we can do that. And I often think, well, what happens with that third? You've got that kind of imbalance that you can't do that. And it's we kind of parent almost separately. It does change your relationship a bit with your partner as well. I should imagine, going from 1 to 2 was very much like, we had our first, most of us, in COVID. So, not only was there just one child to worry about, they had 2 parents that were right there, but, zap yourself out of that situation into life. We're suddenly dealing with double the amount of children, and we have to split up. We have to divide to conquer. That's not that kind of merry, we can all do it together.
No.
So, you become, rather than a couple, you become, I don't know, well, we certainly did. We're more like just parents for a while. It's a very different kind of relationship, because there's such an intensity on trying to make sure that everyone's needs are met, that we tend to put your relationship on the back burner for a little bit. I don't know. Was that just me?
No, it's
It can change it, I think.
I'd describe it as a tag team.
Yeah. And then trying to find a babysitter for, 4 as opposed to.
We haven't done that. We haven't.
Really did.
No, I haven't. So my parents, they're only just in North London, and like it's like an hour and a half away, but it's not that far. They do help quite a bit if we want someone to sit in so we can do something of an evening, which is a rarity. But because the twins are now quite a bit, like a lot more, not easier for us, but probably like for our friends, they seem quite a lot easier. Our friends have also come around and sat in and like babysat. If we've gotten the twins to bed, at least it's just the older two that they can kind of hang out with, and that's a lot easier. That's kind of been our babysitting setup at the moment. We've never actually braved like even trying to find a babysitter that would look after 4. I don't know if that's even a thing. Like, would you need 2 babysitters? I don't know.
I don't know.
I've got no idea.
Yeah, super nanny. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, logistics like that is why I've got so much respect for you, Charlotte, because like, how do you even fit them in the car?
We had to get a new car.
Yeah, this is what I hear. That's one of my main arguments, was that we can't have a third because we'd have to get a new car.
No, we literally did have to get a new car, and so we had to get a 7-seater. But if you've got literally everyone in the car, there's actually no boot. So even just if we were all in the car and we had the double buggy as well, like in the boot, you can fit literally like 1 bag of shopping. It's just mad.
Yeah. So what's up? Got their scooters and their bikes.
You can't.
We get it.
Yeah, and because we've got the baby seats in at the moment for the twins, even just something as simple as going like to the park, and if we want like 2 bikes and 2 scooters, like Aaron will have to take like the 3 girls and like all the scooters and maybe 1 bike, and then I'll have to go with Harrison by foot, like on his bike. Like we can't all do it. We can't all fit in the car.
This is why we've got it easy, Alex. We don't realize
Oh, it's not easy though. 1's not easy. 4's not easy. You know.
Yeah, exactly. You know, let's talk about the perks. I feel like there's definitely some positives to having like a huge, you know, family. Not quite Home Alone standards, but like there must always be sort of that sense of sort of liveliness going on around the house and playing together. And I don't know, Christmas must be completely mad, but yeah,
really happy chaos, to be fair. It's obviously very difficult, and just the tiredness for all of us, I'm sure, is just unimaginable. But it is happy chaos most of the time, I think.
I always think that, yeah, once it gets to too many kids, like when they both have friends over for play dates, and very often myself and Anna will combine children, and there's 4 of them running around, but that's 2 sets of 2, and with any luck they're all doing something, and there's some sort of sense of, it's just like a lovely little, I don't know, it does make me go, oh, it's all right, maybe we can have a few more. You know, it's there's a weird kind of hormonal biological thing that just, especially you were saying, Anna, like you feel like the clock's ticking, and you've got to kind of grab these moments, you know, and you're like, oh, it's now or never. Do we have that other child? Yeah, that's huge. Whenever I'm teaching children all the time, whenever I see another baby come in, I'm like, oh, completely forget the hideousness of like that 4th trimester, and then just go, oh, wouldn't it be nice?
Yeah. Do you know what though? Like, it's not like a thing that I'm saying I actually want to do, but like I even like if I see mums in the playground and they've got like a new baby in a sling, and I'm just like, oh, because I never got to do that with the twins. Like for the first few weeks I had like a twin sling thing.
Yeah.
But other than that, I never got to do the whole like walking around with like just one baby, and you know, everything being quite nice, just the 2 of you sniffing its head walking down the street and all of that stuff. Like I honestly, the twins weren't in the sling for very long because it was just so horrible on my back. And then they were straight in the double buggy. So yeah, even when I see sling mums, I'm like, oh, such a nice time.
It is, isn't it? I met my nephew, who is 4 or 5 months, no, less than that, 4 months, still very babyish with big sticky up hair. I realized I was being borderline weird because sitting just kind of gazing at him whilst everyone in the room was kind of chatting, I was just like, oh, baby. Because it's something hormonal, isn't it, that you just forget all the hard stuff.
Yes. Yeah, I think so.
The other thing that plays on my mind as well is that it's a cliche, but when you have one, you think, I can't imagine how I can find the love to love a second one like I love. And then you do, and it's the most incredible feeling that like this whole other room of love opens up in your heart.
Yeah.
And you've had that 4 times over. You must just be overflowing with love for your children.
Yeah.
Except for when they're driving you crazy.
And then it's quite the opposite.
overflowing with love and overflowing with laundry, because I just find with every child there's more washing to do.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
what was I going to say then? Something popped into my mind about children.
I had a question for you, Alex. Still thinking of your question. I don't know if you have this, but because of this kind of desire to have a third, I'm finding it so hard to get rid of the baby stuff. I can only my husband he just understands that he has to do it very sensitively and slowly. We passed on the sleepy head, that there's.
Aw.
Yeah.
And then he also wanted to get rid of all the potties. And I mean, I'm going to sound ridiculous, but I was like, okay, I can handle the sleepy head, but we can't do the potties yet. Because and then I become irrational. And if he pushes too hard, I say, well, it's okay. We'll just have a third then. It's okay.
Well, I found even with because they're both boys, you're like, great, we'll do hand-me-downs, everything that Eli wore, Ari can wear. But then I find myself going, he's a different baby. And they didn't follow the same pattern. I assumed having a second would be exactly the same. They would have the same wants and needs and personality, and I would be able to soothe them. So all the things I learned with Eli along the way, that rocky first sort of journey into motherhood, would be a piece of cake. And then this second child comes along, and he's so different. He's different proportionally. He's different. He was born a different time of year. He's a different personality. So I found that I've still got all of Eli's stuff in the loft because I've just bought all new stuff for him to give him his own identity. So he's not running around like mini Eli number 2. Do you find, because Eli's mentioning his name, he's obsessed at the moment that I have a favourite and I'm not his favourite, and that they've got this sort of phrase of like, you love him more than me, or you're his best friend and not mine, and I'm always like, no, mummy doesn't have favourites, but it does vary under who's behaving best. Do you find that you're kind of like parenting one more than another? Do you find your attentions are drawn? Like you were saying, Anna, there's always more love in your heart. But have you got a favourite?
Controversial. I think it's just an extension of the mum guilt, because the mum guilt is endless and all-encompassing, and that's just one of the things you feel guilty about is at any one time I'm focusing on one of them and then feeling bad that I'm not focusing on the other one. So
Yeah.
just about trying to balance that and pick and choose. But I think, I just think it's unavoidable that you're always going to feel like that. But I don't know. What do you think, Charlotte?
I don't genuinely. I don't have a favourite. I feel at the moment I'm just spread very thinly across, evenly and thinly across the children. No, but to what you were saying, Alex, about Eli kind of talking about favourites, my son does kind of come up with that card. Usually when he's probably been told off about something, and he's like, "Oh, but you don't love me as much as," and I think it's maybe because it's 3 girls and him, that he's kind of like, "Oh, you just don't love me as much as you love the girls," and yeah.
I think a little bit because they're the oldest as well. So I naturally expect him to be a little bit more independent because he can manage more things. I don't have to give him as much of my time as I do running around stopping a 3-year-old jumping off something, because I'd like to think he had a modicum more of common sense. And then I have to catch myself going, well, just because he's that little bit older, and he's got a little bit more conversation and understanding, and he can look after himself. Like sometimes he gets up and makes his own breakfast. I mean, it's a mess, but he does it. That he gets less of my time because of that. And we have to build in sort of moments where one's at nursery so I can spend some time with him, because they're still so little and they're still need you. It's just it's need, and that's what you're driven by, because you're spread more thinly, so it's who needs you most, and it's really hard to explain that to a 6-year-old that his brother is chaos and needs my help.
I found there is some mileage in saying I'm so grateful that you're being so well behaved because you're the bigger brother. He gets really proud of that and kind of does performative good behavior, like I'm the good child. Probably not meant to do that, but it is quite helpful when he does do it. I don't have to worry about him.
I find Eli turns into another parent and just starts disciplining his younger brother. He's just like, oh my goodness, you can't do that. I'm the one that sets the naughty step. You can't be just like carting him off by his feet.
I was going to say, it gets quite physical, doesn't it? He decides that he will physically enforce this good behaviour. I'm like, okay, I see where you're coming from with this. I did your brother across the kitchen floor.
Or he'll come out with a parenting phrase and I'm like, oh no, that's me coming back at me. Like he's literally just gone, if you don't do that, there's no pudding. I was like, oh yeah, that's me. I threatened them.
Could do both though. No, I mean threatening no pudding. That is not a bad thing to have repeated.
How do you think your two would cope with a third?
Oh, it's a really good question. It's a really interesting time to have this conversation as well because Rory, my youngest, is the age to the month that his older brother was when he was born, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I thought my eldest was so grown up when his younger brother arrived, and now I realise that 3 really is not that big at all. He's still, like, very toddler-esque.
Mm.
I don't know. I don't know about you guys, but I felt really guilty when I got pregnant with my second because I thought I'm taking myself away from this first child who I love so. And when you asked me that question, that's my immediate feeling that if I got pregnant with a third, I would feel guilty about how I was taking myself away from the other 2. I think they would probably cope with it better than I would thinking about it because again, the guilt would just multiply that I would just feel bad that I was having to split my attention even further. But, as I say, it's just because mum guilt is never ending and you'll always find something.
Of course.
Yeah. I think children as well, we always underestimate them. They're incredibly adaptable.
Yeah, they are very.
Way more than we are. They can just go with the flow. Yeah, but if I'd have had 2 girls that were very easy and quiet and did colouring in, I probably wouldn't hesitate. But having 2 very, very energetic boys, I feel like it would be a disservice to them to have a third because I feel like I need to give them all of me. And I think that's the only thing that fights against my kind of hormones is that I feel like they need me, and I think it would take a little bit of me away.
The flip side of that though is, Alex, have you ever experienced seeing your boys with a baby? Because my boys were meeting this new cousin and being very cute and very interested in this little baby, and I find that really hard to watch because I'm like, oh, it'd be cute, but then of course it'd be cute for about 5 minutes, and then they'd be in danger of being thrown around the room.
Well, exactly. It was like when I first brought Ari home from hospital. I was very cute for a few weeks. He wanted to cuddle him on his lap all the time. And then 2 weeks in, it was like, well, when's that going? When are we back to normal? So the honeymoon period was definitely over. And I find it hard enough to get away for sort of holidays and schedule all their play dates and their parties and all the sort of like admin that comes with that. I mean, I shouldn't let admin get in the way of having another baby, but it's a lot, isn't it?
Yeah.
I get it because I think you would just expand to fill. You'd find a way to do the things that you need to do, as you've done, Charlotte.
Yeah.
I feel so at capacity. It's like, well, how with the logistics and everything, how would you find that extra capacity? But I guess with the situation,
Yeah.
Gosh, yeah, it's a lot to think about, isn't it, ladies?
it's a difficult one. I was saying to Alex before the podcast, I hope this doesn't make me feel really sad about not having a third because it is tempting, isn't it?
It's funny, it's always there. I can never I think everyone's different and some people are very clear about, when they're finished, when they're done. And others are not. And I just always on the fence. I'm pretty much like, no, it's not gonna happen now. I've kind of reached my peak. But you can't quite it's a very hard door to shut
It
completely.
is, yeah.
You just never know, and you're just like, oh gosh, what if? My husband got me a dog instead to kind of fill the void of the third child. And to be honest, it was as much hard work to begin with, and I was like, this is ridiculous. But yeah, it's a very, very difficult thing, and I see a lot more larger families now. I feel like life can, there's sort of a lot more people that I seem to know that are having one more, and I feel like yeah, that's become a thing that's on my mind a lot more. And I think maybe there's a lot of nurseries where we are. There's a lot of like, you know, clubs and places that you can be. So there's a lot of support out there.
Yeah.
So I think maybe that's kind of the positive for having more children, is that you get the benefits of being in sort of well, certainly where we are, quite a kind of busy area, but you know, they're also ever so expensive.
Yeah.
You know, it's a really tough call. When one of them's sick, what do? You've got
They all get sick.
they will get sick. Oh god.
Yeah, they you must be ill constantly in your house, Charlotte, because
Yeah.
four in our household, it's bad enough that by the time it's gone through all four of us, then a new illness has just arrived in the house anyway. So it just
Yeah. Yeah, there's always a coughing sound coming from somewhere in the house.
particularly at this time of year as well.
Yeah.
All right, so there's no answers. It's very interesting to kind of dive into it. What did you find was the most useful, helpful thing out there when you were kind of in the thick of it? What would you sort of say that was it? Just the family and friends help? Was it past experience? Even to you, Anna, what really helped you for transition from 1 to 2? Baby clubs or
For me, it was, and I'm honestly not saying this because it's your podcast, Alex, but was baby clubs and tappy toe was that honestly kept me sane, because I think that is the challenge, is when you're deep in baby world where it's all just about feeding and changing and sleeps and stress and a crying child and siblings and all that kind of thing. Just having other mums or parents alongside you going, yeah, I'm dealing with that too. There's something powerful about that. That you're like, okay, it's not just me. I can cope with this because it's not just me dealing with it. But would you be like that?
Do you know what? I actually feel a little bit the opposite. So I didn't actually find baby clubs, not as in like you know, like dance clubs. I mean like play groups. You know, where you just turn up in the church hall and there's the toys and all that stuff. So I did quite a lot of those, and I even did some twin ones, just for twins or more, so multiple ones. But I was just it was just such a frantic environment to be in, because obviously people that went to these things literally had 2 or 3 babies with them individually. You can't even have any kind of conversation, like not even quick chat. So it was kind of like you're just going out of your house to be somewhere else, which is equally as stressful, and you're just having to completely have your laser vision on the babies that you've come with. So you couldn't. It wasn't easy for me to socialize in that respect. So I didn't really find the baby groups that much of a support in the baby days, but I'd probably say my friends and family, because they kind of truly got it at the time when it was really raw.
Yeah. That's true.
yeah. So would you have any more, Lottie?
I don't know. Do you? What my no? Do you know what? My husband is definitely no. I'm definitely like 99% no. There's still a bit of me, like you said. It's probably the hormones. It's probably my age. It's probably seeing a lot of newborns out and about since the new year.
Yeah. And they're all little girls now. They're at preschool. They're not those little babies anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we need to get a dog as well.
I do think you're onto something with that, Alex. I think maybe I need to get a dog as well. That might help with my craving for a third child.
Hidden puppy pads everywhere might put you off. Yeah.
There's a little bit of that, but yeah, there are some nice like quiet walks where I can just chat to her and I don't get chat back in the same way. And it is quite nice watching the kids grow up with an animal. It's like that relationship's lovely. So yeah, there's definite perks to that as well. But yeah, it's hard work, and you need a boot.
Yeah.
It's either the bikes or the dog. You know, we
Yeah.
can't do both. So yeah, it's difficult. But oh gosh, to 3 or not to 3? That is the question. Yeah, no, thank you, ladies, for coming on. I think for anyone sort of debating it, in the throes of it, terrified because there's number 2 or number 3 coming along, you know, there's something in motherhood that you just cope. I remember saying that to someone before number 2 came along. It's like, well, how can I do it? I've got this, I'm on my own a lot, and I've got one, and how do I going to cope with 2? And what if one needs to go to nursery and one needs feeding, and those awful days when I was trying to get Eli to reception, but it was nap time, and I'm like, oh, how do I cope? And I remember this health visitor just saying to me, you just do it.
Yeah.
I don't know how, you just do it. And I look back at times when it's been the most challenging, when one's been ill or needed to go to A&E, and I've got the other one with me, and I don't know, I found that all other kind of stress and emotion disappeared, and you zone into like mother mode, and it just happens.
Yeah.
So not saying it's going to be easy by any stretch of the imagination, but it is remarkable how parents, solo or together, can just rise to a challenge. Yeah, that is my only conclusion on the matter. I'm still on the fence with it, but yeah, I definitely see it.
as well. I think someone pointed this out to me. A relative actually. She was saying you surprise yourself as a parent, don't you? You achieve things that you didn't think you possibly could, and you rise to the challenge, as you said, Alex. So it is good for that, isn't it? Kind of finding out what you truly are capable of.
Indeed, and sometimes I think I parent 2 better than 1. Sometimes I don't know how. I think when the focus is on one, and that one is stroppy and putting her feet down and saying no, it's a very head-to-head battle. But suddenly, when you're managing all of them, it dilutes it down a little bit. And yeah, as long as you can get a bit of a sanity break somehow,
Yeah.
there's a way through. Well, thank you so much, ladies, for coming on and having a little chat with us. And it was lovely to see you. And as always, guys, any questions, any thoughts, any comments, do drop them in the bottom. There's my like and subscribe button. Oh, there's the wrong side. So do join along for more chat. Thanks, everyone, for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's Tappy